The 16th Amendment to the Constitution, the power of the Union to levy taxes, has become the linchpin of American living. This amendment has shaped the economic growth and stature of America by dividing cash flow based on an individual's income. The advent of income tax shaped the economic structure of America by attempting to balance dividends according to wealth. Yet in efforts to even the grounds between the wealthy and impoverished populations, it decreased the probability of climbing the socioeconomic ladder.
The idea of a tax on income first appeared during the Civil War when the government was desperate to decrease their financial deficit. Despite the profit it gained and success it had in urban societies, the tax was abolished in 1872. Until the 1900s, the conception of income tax was cast aside as unconstitutional. Yet in the outset of the 20th century, Democratic Senator Joseph W. Bailey proposed, once again, this overture of an income tax, which with great controversy from the Republican Party, manifested into a constitutional amendment advised by President William Taft. The 16th Amendment finally took effect on February 25, 1913.
The implementation of income tax endeavored to close the widening gap between the rich and the poor, which was particularly expansive during the Gilded Age, the period it was in force. However, in spite of its best efforts, it had contrasting results. This is how it works today. Corporations, properties, trusts, and people are all eligible to the income tax requirement. The extent to how heavily they are tariffed varies on amount and tax deductions, which are easier to qualify for with a greater salary. Although this way of doing taxation deems fair in relation to the compiled taxes an individual has to pay, it depletes the ability of the person to escalate economically.
The capacity of ascending, or in that matter, descending socioeconomically, is so arduous because the income tax aims for equilibrium, but does not achieve justice. Much of the wealthy population can significantly reduce their tax pay through tax deductions. One can even qualify if they simply keep their business afloat. In fact, in 1969, 155 affluent persons had been exempt completely from their taxes because of how many deductions they were granted. This case later led to alternate minimum tax, which was employed to prevent rich individuals from not paying tariffs, but aggregately hurts the middle and lower classes who have a parallel tax to pay additionally. Moreover, while income tax counts for 40% of the total amount, inheritance is a mere 0.5. This ensures the longevity of the upper class and thus constricting the rest of the population to their current stature.
Here's what we think it is again. And here is the actual distribution, shockingly skewed. Not only do the bottom 20% and the next 20%, the bottom 40% of Americans barely have any of the wealth. Republicans and Democrats alike chose this curve. Sadly, this isn't even close to the reality. Here is the actual distribution of wealth in America. While the richest 1% take home almost a quarter of the national income today,
The onset of income tax was formative to the economic structure of America through its attempts to balance dividends according to wealth. However, in aspirations to bring equality to the wealthy and impoverished populaces, it decreased the feasibility of climbing the socioeconomic ladder. The 16th Amendment originated in hopes of formulating a fair way to increase government revenue and stabilize the standings economically throughout America. And although in writing it appears to promote fairness over history, it has proven to embellish the exuberant advantages of the wealthy that thwarted the chance for change amidst any stature in the nation.